With war, we here to bring the truth in this podcast. We break news, fake news. It's the real, it's the fuel. We're bearded alpha males here to save the youth. Spitting fire on the mic with the bass, Christian taste. Exposing the lies, keeping the demons at bay. We ain't afraid to speak up. We won't be swayed. Jar open this podcast where the truth is laid. Jar cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas up. We're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. We ain't playing games, we're on a mission to awaken the masses with our intuition. Pulling out the corruption with no inhibition. Jar open this podcast, sparking a revolution. We're not afraid to stand tall, and we're all in the scene. We're the voice of reason, bringing light to the street. Keeping it real, never missing a beat. Jar open this podcast where the truth is stay. Jar open, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas up, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. Jar open this podcast where the truth will never cease. Join us on the journey to bring back peace. We're rolling Atlas up, fearless in our release. Jar open this podcast where the lies will decrease.
All right. Jar Openers Podcast, episode 104, I believe. How's it going? Joined tonight by Chris. How's it going, buddy?
What's up? I'm in the sauna tonight. We're going to lose about 10 pounds, I think.
Oh, fun. Just Me.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I was noticing that Just Me just mentioned that the song was echoing. It does that sometimes in the intros. Hopefully we're not echoing anymore.
I don't hear it now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was over here. I'm like, I thought I hit the dang mute button, and I'm looking. I'm like, well, I'll just hit this other mute button up here too, just to make sure it's not me.
Oh, it's okay. It actually it mutes both of our microphones automatically when it plays the intro.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah, we should be all right on that.
Hi, Just Me. Hi, Andrea.
See Andrea, all about the alternative. Ruth, you got to remember your name is Ruth, right? Who else? Jay, good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. So we're going to talk about the craziness of the day. There's been a lot of stuff coming out, and I kind of just had to pick a few things early on and just go with them. And then as the day has gone on, there's been a couple updates, one of which I included in the outline here. But we're going to start off with the big story of the day, in my opinion, is the betrayal from our fearless leaders that we voted for, which would be Pam Bondi. Well, we didn't really vote for them, but we voted for them through proxy when we elected Donald Trump. Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Scam Bondi is what she has turned into. Essentially, they betrayed the MAGA base. They betrayed America, because I think the Epstein list, the Epstein files, is something that both sides actually agree on, that we would like to see be released to the public. And of course, all we've got is bullcrap from them. So remind everybody to set your messages to all messages also in chat there. But we're going to get into this one here. The day went by really fast for me today. I don't know about you guys, but I do have, I'm just going to wait on that one, but wait for some people to file in here. But we're going to start off. The Epstein case is closed. Okay, so the DOJ and the FBI confirm the narrative that Jeffrey took care of himself in prison. They also deny the client list actually exists. And that's something that, we've been rooting for, but I've mentioned it for a few weeks now that I don't believe there is any list anymore. It's been in multiple people's hands, essentially. Anything that would come off of the list would have to be taken with a grain of salt, considering the amount of hands that have touched it. The only thing that's any good anymore at this point would be the actual videos themselves. And speaking for myself, and I think most of the people, something that we're not really interested in watching. First of all, it's illegal, as it involves minors, allegedly, and just stuff that we're not interested in watching. So, short of that, we can't really believe anything that was coming out, and so they went ahead and took it a step further and just basically denied that it exists. I don't know if they're saying it doesn't exist anymore, or if it's one of those never did exist, nothing to see here type of scenarios. But it's annoying nevertheless.
Well, I'm going to bring something up on that, and that is, if it didn't exist at all, then why did Pam Bondi say it's on her desk?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's and we have multiple. Right, yeah, and that's the main question. Really, we have Donald Trump referring to it on the campaign trail. We have JD Vance saying that the list needs to be released on the Theo Vaughn podcast. We have, Pam Bondi multiple times, like you said, saying that it was on her desk. Talking about there was extra files in the New York FBI case that they had to go through a whole truckload, I think is what she actually said. So just nothing to see here. Didn't happen. Pretty crazy scenario. And I think this is one of those things where potentially, there's the theory out there that, the people involved, if they go down, our economy, our society can't handle the hit. For me, I'm willing to take the chance. I'm willing to take the risk. That's not something that we just walk away from, the abuse of young ones, and for the sake of society. What is society if we can't protect our youth? And that's just basically the bottom line where we kind of start off at. I see Captain Willie in chat. What's up? What's up, TNT? I was looking for you on Salty Stream last night. I didn't see you. I was over on Rumble, but
I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe they enjoy watching the videos too much. They don't want to make them public now.
right. Or maybe it's the power and the leverage, the transfer of power, and the blackmail essentially still exists. Is just not. It's in new hands, and they don't want to give up that power over the people that they have. There's also a theory that we're going to get into from Judge Joe Brown. That's interesting, but I don't know. We'll just have to hear. We'll have to hear it and think through. What's up, Jamie? And we'll get to it. But start off here with with this story from the New York Post, just to basically get us caught up here. The Jeffrey Epstein didn't have a client list and committed, the self harm. Yeah, there you go. The DOJ and FBI say in findings that debunk conspiracy theories, and there's a report here. So it sucks is, of course, the left is probably going to run with this and try to in your face us, but the fact is that they should be just as interested and invested in this list coming forward, regardless of who is on it. And I'm saying that even if Donald Trump is on it, which, I don't believe he is. I wouldn't support him in the first place if I thought that he was. But if he is, we want to know. And so, in that light, I think the whole world should be demanding this, and then there's the whole other theory that, it's the Jews that are in control of everything. And I don't know. I think this might actually have more to do with the crown in Europe over that, but maybe it's multi-layered, maybe it's nothing. But let's continue with the story here. The notorious predator Epstein didn't keep a supposed client list, and he was not murdered during his short stay in a Manhattan lockup. The Justice Department FBI recently concluded in a joint probe. Maybe they're just sitting around smoking joints. I don't know. It seems pretty high to me, but the investigation, the results of which were detailed in a memo obtained by Axios, also found no evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals. So he was just innocent in this whole thing, right? The Trump administration plans to release a video to prove agencies' findings on Epstein's 2019 death, which bred mounds of conspiracy theories. He's the only person in there, the only person coming out. You can see it, FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino said in late May. But there's a big problem with that statement. Oh, wow, that was crazy. There's a big problem with that statement in my mind, which is who found him? If the cameras were off in the jail cell, how did you know that he was gone? So there was always going to be that first person who walked into the cell, and you never know what that first person could have potentially done. Not saying that they did, but they walk in, they give him a shot, they do whatever. You never know, right? And just assuming that that person was on the up and up when he went in there and found him is an assumption, and it's a big assumption, especially with the way that they're telling this story and the way that some of this video that I have, is supposed to corroborate their story, but it doesn't. And thanks for that 7-month membership there, TNT. I appreciate you. Got to use your free super chat before you forget. Yeah, man.
Suck up.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't know that happened either. So just me. That's pretty cool. You learn something new every day. So let's go over here actually, and let's just go right to the source with the Axios story. I think I saved it. Maybe I wanted to just do the New York Post actually. Oh no, here it is. Okay. So we'll go straight to the initial source. Exclusive, the DOJ, FBI conclude Epstein had no client list and died by his own hand. Yeah, they're releasing, well, I won't repeat the top part, we just read it, but the administration is releasing a video in both raw and enhanced versions that it says indicates no one entered the area in the Manhattan prison where Epstein was held the night he died. And I have that video, but it's a long video, so we're not going to watch the entirety, but I do have some highlights on it. Now, the video supports a medical examiner's finding that Epstein, died by his own hand. So why it matters, the findings represent the first time Trump's administration has officially contradicted conspiracy theories about Epstein's activities and his death. The first time they've ever contradicted a conspiracy theory, because all of our conspiracy theories become true, right? Are proven true. Even the cloud seeding that we're going to get into here in a little bit as it pertains to the flooding in Texas, but theories that had been pushed by the FBI's top 2 officials before Trump appointed them to the bureau. And we'll get into all that as well. But as the official media influencers and activists, Kash Patel, now the FBI director, and Bongino, now deputy director, who cried on his last stream, now has people wondering, and this I'm adding this part, has people wondering what he was actually crying about. Was he crying because he knew that his streaming career was over, that he was going to have to toe the mainstream line for the administration, for the deep state? I don't know. We'll never know. But I think regardless, Bongino after this is Alex looks different. Bongino after this.
I'm the Team U Atlas. I'm the Team U Atlas.
He's gonna have a hard time going back and into that role as a thought leader amongst the conservatives there on his Rumble platform or wherever else, just because the amount of betrayal and lack of trust that this guy has burned, right? And he was our guy that we trusted, and if you can't trust him, then who we got, right? But yeah, what's up, Cool Vic? Good to see you, man. The memo says no one else is involved in the case. No one else involved in the case will be charged. Epstein's associate Ghislaine Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence for the trafficking and related offenses. So, are they basically saying that she was the bad one and Jeffrey was just the front man who apparently his bank account is still sending and receiving transactions, making transactions even all these years after his death. Allegedly, I'll add, just for safety's purpose, I guess. But yeah, I don't have a hat on. My neck is much more free, that I don't have all the weight on my head as well.
Okay, so I have to fix something here.
Sure.
Jamie, my beard is longer than Atlas's.
Yeah, for sure. He trimmed his off. I trimmed actually about 1.5 inches off of mine this afternoon.
I took a little bit, like maybe a quarter, half an inch off.
Yeah, I was getting a little frayed at the bottom, so I was like, you know what, I'll just tighten it up and take a little bit off. It's weird now when I go like this, I'm used to pulling on it longer, but anyways. So zoom in. According to the memo, investigators closely examined footage of Epstein's Manhattan prison cell between 10:40 on August 9th, 2019, when Epstein was locked in his cell, and around 6:30 the next day when he was found unresponsive. It's a pretty big gap of time to not check on somebody, by the way, especially such a high level individual. But the footage was reviewed by Axios, but couldn't be verified independently. Showed no one entering the area, the administration said. The FBI enhanced the footage by increasing its contrast, balancing color, and improving its sharpness for greater clarity and viewability, the memo says. Investigators found no incriminating client list of Epstein's, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals, and no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. Just completely insane statements. And we actually have the official statement here, which I have some of it highlighted that we'll get into here in a bit. But zoom out, as MAGA influencers Patel and Bongino had been amongst the loudest voices touting Epstein conspiracy theories. Since joining the government as Trump's appointees, they've been more measured in talking about the Epstein investigation and throwing cold water on the notion that he was murdered. He killed. Okay. And Bongino said, we know what he said, right? And I've made the whole, he also claims that he's seen the whole file. So I don't want to read the whole rest of this, but let's get into some of these posts and reactions. Let's see here. We have, oh yeah, keep that one. So breaking, this is from ALX. Breaking, the Justice Department and FBI have concluded they have no evidence that Epstein blackmailed powerful figures and kept a client list or was murdered. A few things. This says that they have found no evidence in their possession. Not that it doesn't exist or didn't at one point. Also seeing a lot of, quote, then what was on the tapes and why is Ghislaine in jail? On the tapes, the memo says they show Epstein and victims. Since he's dead, he can't be charged for that. On Ghislaine, she was charged for procuring victims for Jeffrey and partaking in the abuse herself. Hey, thanks for the $2 super chat there, Jamie. Appreciate you. You certainly don't have to do that, but do you have any update on your job interview, or is that still coming up this week? I can't remember the latest that you had. I think you the last time you mentioned something was that you had like a second interview coming up. Jay says they enhanced the vids and have their fun, then decided to delete them after the post. No clarity. That's funny, yeah. Oh, you'll find out at the end of the week. Cool. Well, good luck. We hope you're, we hope it goes good for you. So the Hodge twins mentioned. Well, actually, here's the part of the official, papers or whatever. The file relating to Epstein, including a large volume of images of Epstein, images of videos of victims who are either minors or appear to be minors, and over 10,000 downloaded videos and images of illegal abuse material and other adult material. Teams of agents, analysts, attorneys, and privacy and civil liberties. That's a run-on sentence when you say and, by the way. I don't know who worded this, but maybe they need to go back to high school and learn some English. Combed through the digital and documentary evidence of the aim of with the aim of providing as much information as possible to the public while simultaneously protecting victims. Much of the material is subject to court-ordered scaling only a fraction of this material will have been aired publicly had Epstein gone to trial, as the seals served only to protect victims and did not expose any additional third parties to allegations of illegal wrongdoing. Through this review, we found no basis to revisit the disclosure of the materials and will not permit the release of, child, adult material. And this all comes on the heels of the most prominent victim passing away just a few weeks ago. What was her name?
Jeffrey.
Yeah, thank you. I was drawing a blank on it. And I just can't help but wonder, maybe did the story as maybe the last speaking victim die with her? I don't know.
There's other victims, they just won't come forward publicly.
Right. And so the Hodge twins mentioned that Maxwell is sitting in prison for sex trafficking with Epstein to absolutely nobody. So at this point, from the official stance that the DOJ has put out, shouldn't she maybe get another trial? Maybe that first trial is a mistrial. I'm not trying to advocate for her, but I'm just saying.
No, you're right. I mean, if they don't have a victim, they don't have a case. Right.
And so ALX responds and says that Ghislaine is in prison for recruiting minors for Jeffrey and partaking in that abuse. But tens of thousands of videos, how many videos can you make in a day? How many years does it take to make tens of thousands of videos? Anybody's guess, right? So,
did she take part in some of the videos? That's another question.
I think that's what it's partaking in the abuse herself. So I think maybe she's potentially in some of them.
She looks like that type.
Right. And he accompanied that with this. So according to the allegations in the indictment, court documents and evidence presented at trial from at least 1994 up to and including in about 2004. So in a 10-year period, that's 1,000 videos. That's 3 videos a day for 10 years. I don't know. Seems like maybe more than 1 or 2 people would be involved in it. You know what I'm saying?
Hi, Dave. Welcome in.
It's a rather extensive collection, I guess you could say. But anyways, assisted, facilitated, and participated in Epstein's abuse of minors by, among other things, helping recruit, groom, ultimately abuse victims known to Maxwell and Epstein to be under the age of 18. Victims were as young as 14 years old. They were groomed and abused by Maxwell and Epstein, both of whom knew their victims were in fact minors. As a part and in furtherance of the scheme to abuse minor victims, Maxwell and Epstein enticed and caused minor victims to travel to Epstein's residences in different states, which Maxwell knew and intended would result in their grooming for the abuse. So I guess that's what she's in prison for, although that was never the case up till now, right? Now everything just switches up and it's like, well, no, that's not why she's in prison. She wasn't. She was just participating and recruiting for him. It was nobody else. Doesn't pass the smell test to me that was all she was doing, especially knowing the amounts of dollars looking at the amounts of dollars that Epstein somehow became so wealthy, seemingly being a absentee professor at Harvard or whatever it was. None of it makes sense. Their math isn't mathing.
Jay said, where were their parents? Their parents probably sold the kids, in all honesty, Jay.
Right.
It happens a lot more worldwide than what you think.
Right. I just saw side note to that point. Muslim dude just tried to buy a 9-year-old, or maybe it was a 6-year-old, did buy the 6-year-old to be his third wife, but the family's not going to hand her over until she's 9. So at least they got that going for them. It's really pathetic, but yes, families do sell their children.
We need to turn around. Something got screwed up somewhere.
Right. So Andrew Wilson, he posted this. One thing the right and left wing can agree on is that we want the Epstein client list, and we want to know who went. Even if Trump is on that list, we want to know this is obviously, at this point, a massive cover-up. Tyson Clark, he responded, I'm not sure who that is, but he said, the list is never coming out. It's too useful to hold over powerful people's heads. Integrity is a dumb value to use when you're in politics. Thomas Massey. You act with integrity, the politician who doesn't destroy you. You act with integrity, the politician who doesn't destroys you with power. Power is the stronger card to play in politics. Then Andrew Wilson, he responded and said, that's essentially the truth to power. Yes, I don't deny this. I would just counter with the fact that rulers can have principles. They just usually don't in modernity, which is unfortunate. And you see where, the principled ones like Thomas Massey, where it gets you, it's just counterproductive to your party and really your own principles, essentially. Some of these down.
My belief is that anyone who does that doesn't deserve to share the same air as the rest of us.
Sure. Yeah, they should
Just my take.
Be in prison for sure. So just looking back, this was Pam Bondi. Some of the words that Pam Bondi said in the past on the client list. Let's see here. This is where she was saying that it was on her desk. Here, I'll just let it play.
DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein.
Is that audio coming through for you guys? Okay. Okay. Yeah, sir, Iceman. Maybe they can make a part 2 that movie. So anyways, I'm gonna rewind this. And
DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive.
That was a direct question. The list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. And Pam Bondi just bullface, scam Bondi, bullface just lied to everyone. Whether she didn't have the list now or she didn't have the list then, I don't know. It's pretty messed up. Yeah, not once did a left influencer ask Biden about it. Yeah, that's for sure.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
DOJ may...
Really?
Yeah.
You're looking at all this nasty, disgusting stuff that these people are doing to kids, and you're telling me that you haven't seen anything that stands out to you that's just absolutely disgusting that blew your mind?
Right. It's kind of maybe lends to her perspective on morals. Maybe it's just not bad in her opinion. Somebody made the joke that she's just
was she the AG of Florida?
Yeah, she was the AG of Florida when he was busted the first time.
So desensitized.
Yeah, maybe she's desensitized, or maybe she's in on it and
that's the only
she's
thing
just
I can think of.
Lying. Yeah, trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she's desensitized and it's nothing she hasn't seen before. But man, not a good look when you're out here saying you have it on your desk, and then is there a date on this? I'm not sure when she actually said this, but a couple months later,
back in May.
Okay, a couple months later, saying the complete opposite. So Laura Loomer posted, the U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi either knowingly lied to the president, real Donald Trump, and the American people, or she never read the already public Epstein information that she said was on her desk before she released it to the influencers at the White House. And maybe that's the case. Maybe it's just like we've been saying, that she needs to stay off of Fox News and do her job. And she got caught up in the moment and overpromised and underdelivered, which is always a bad look, especially for Donald Trump's, ego and his look, because he likes to deliver on those campaign promises. But either of these disqualify her from serving as Attorney General, which I agree. Scam Bondi should step down immediately. And there's a lot of people out here saying that this never would have happened had Matt Gaetz actually accepted the position. That's a complete hypothetical, but I can't help but wonder how it would have turned out if it was somebody else.
I think Gaetz has his price too.
You think he has what?
I think he has his price too.
Right.
Because he could have went back into Congress. He didn't have to resign.
Right. Instead,
he
just
offered him a lucrative
money.
News deal.
Yep. So. Yeah, he just took the money. So this is a shameful situation that has caused tremendous harm and shame to the Trump administration and has caused more pain to the countless victims who were promised closure. It's sad. Yeah, exactly. The only closure that they're getting on this one. Okay, so this actually was in February of 2025. And then so
by President Trump.
Yeah, we've watched that part, but here is her again on March 1st.
I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK.
Oh, I guess it's got to play halfway through. There we go. We'll go right here.
From all of these agencies.
And of course, you've seen the very strong letter. We will get everything. We will have it in our possession. We will redact it, of course, to protect grand jury information and confidential witnesses. But the American people have a right to know. And Donald Trump is the most transparent president in our nation's history. So not only will America get the full Epstein files, they will get JFK, they will get Martin Luther King.
So she doubled down.
None of it.
Yeah, she doubled down. I think we're still waiting for the full JFK and the MLK files too, but I don't know. They're giving us a little bit of the other two, but crazy. Reminder of what Bongino was saying then and now.
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this.
We're not.
Catherine Rumler, I want you, we need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a big deal.
He killed himself.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal.
Okay, well, we're just going to take your word for it. Before you became a part of the system, right? Iceman mentions F the list. It's one piece of paper. Everything is digital now. There's 100% call logs, text messages, emails, DMs, and digital contact lists on every device you owned for 20 years. There's probably a stack of Polaroid pictures and just hard, copy like pictures, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, you're 100% right there. This is a cop-out excuse, and they want it to go away. And it's kind of sad because this is kind of the poop in the ice cream theory that I like to refer to. With all the good that Trump has done, this one thing can ruin everything. This one little speck of poop can ruin everything. The whole bowl of ice cream, which is Trump's second term. He promised us this. They would have been better off coming out and saying, look, they destroyed the files. Just come out and blame Biden and say they destroyed everything. We're looking at, doesn't even make sense. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what the FBI was doing. It looks like they got paid a lot of money to do nothing and spin it that way. Instead, it's just, thanks. You're pissing on my leg and telling me that it's raining. But I can see you standing right there. It's crazy. And then you got Kash Patel.
What the hell are these? It's the same thing with Epstein's list. It's like, what the hell are these Republicans doing? Oh,
I saw you
give out the list.
I saw you make news this morning about that. I got to get to that.
Yeah.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate you know, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out. But then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but if release the names, right? What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list. You're going to accept Dick Durbin's word or whoever that guy is as to who is on that list and who isn't, and that it can and can't be released. Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are. We have an election coming up, and we need to communicate this matter at the polls. God knows the FBI and DOJ aren't going to do anything. But how are you going to reward the FBI with a new headquarters building after their illegal surveillance on Donald Trump continues with a reauthorization of FISA, and we can't even get basic documents out? This is why America hates Congress. And this is why I'm tired of the Republican majority saying they're going to get the job done and failing.
Yeah, and that's why America now hates you. Dan Bongino, you're failing us. They think we're stupid, says, who is controlling this narrative? I swear Patel plus Bongino coming out about Epstein a few months ago, it seems like invasion of the body snatchers. It really does. It's a complete 180 on what they were saying. And when they originally did that 180, it was like, who? They must have got threatened. They must have took a paycheck, maybe both. Regardless, we're not buying this official narrative now. It's crazy. There's too much that we already know to just say that not it all adds up to nothing. That's funny, y'all. You can't handle the truth in the chat at the same time.
Let me
Iceman.
just throw something out here, if I may. We knew back in the beginning, I had a thought in my head that if Trump got back in, a lot of stuff was going to happen. A lot of shenanigans were going to happen in these, the three-letter mafia that run our government. And so this really doesn't surprise me. It just surprises me that they were stupid enough. These guys were stupid enough to ruin their reputations to try and cover it.
Right. I wonder who was telling them their information, because TNT mentions here too that Tyler, they said a lot when they had zero information. But Bongino was former Secret Service, and Cash has a history there too. Law enforcement, they have sources. So I want to know who their sources were, and have they cut those people off? Like what's going on with their sources? Because the information that they were going off of can't just be, in my opinion, what they were hearing in the MAGA echo chamber, right? I mean, if this is all really fake, the whole story was concocted by Q then, right? So they were listening to Q. I don't know, man. TNT says, I'm torn on this because we never knew anything. We're running on a ton of assumptions. I know. And that's so true. But you have these things that, Pam Bondi told us that the list was on her desk. Multiple times she referred to a list from her position in the AG. I always want to say district attorney. So, like, I know we're not supposed to believe them, but at the same time, like, gotta believe some stuff. I don't know. It's pretty messed up. But then, oh wait, actually, I gotta minimize that. But then I have more from Cash here from 2023 to 2025, and some of this might repeat.
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but if release the names, right?
And I've said it, Dan Bongino said it, we've reviewed all the information, and the American public is going to get as much as we can release. He killed himself. Do you think, let's play out the logical conclusion of this. Do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's grotesque activities? Or do you think we would also participate in not prosecuting people we had evidence to prosecute people on? Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it to us? Do you really think I wouldn't give that to you if it existed?
I don't know. I thought you would, but you kind of don't seem.
Well, here's something else that somebody brought up to me that I didn't think about either. And that is these people worked under Obama.
Right.
That's when they got their start. So,
True.
you know, who's to say that they're not still loyal to him and doing what he wants them to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. They think we're stupid. Says I believe they would have told us if they could. It's just like the UFO cover up. I'm fairly confident it's China and a threat and warning. They have military drones the size of a mosquito for real. I saw that story just like a couple of weeks ago that they do actually have. They admitted that they have drones that are the size of an insect. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, keep your fly swatter on you. Let's see here. TNT followed up and said she should be fired for misspeaking. So should Cash and Dan. They effed up, whether they were correct or not. Yeah, and they betrayed us, and they've lost all of their clout. And you know, there's a theory out there too that they're using the information that they have to bust the rings, because we have seen the trafficking rings, prosecution arrests be ramped up since Trump has taken over. I don't know. I'd like to think that maybe that's the case, but I don't know. I mean, it's old information that they're going off of, and you think that they would at least be smart enough, these criminals, to change their ways some point, some way, so that old information wouldn't lead to their arrest. But I don't know. The mind of a criminal I don't have. So,
Well, here's the thing. They get so complacent in what they're doing that they think they'll never get caught.
right. Iceman says, we try to play nice and reform the state with Trump Vance 2024, and this is what we got. They're forcing us to demolish every institution. Yeah, for real.
Let's go.
100%.
Burn it to the fucking ground and start over.
That's right.
At this point.
That's right. I meant to put that on the screen.
That's what I said to them when I heard that earlier today. I said that to Mom. I said, "Oh, at this point, if this is how it's going," I said, then our government should be insolvent and just completely redone.
Right. 100%. This is one of the victims. Epstein Maxwell victim quote. Well, I'll just let her read it or let her speak.
I have spent the last 17 years in my own prison for what she, Jeffrey, and all the co-conspirators did to me. I was raped repeatedly.
All the co-conspirators. Who are the co-conspirators?
Well, we know Prince Andrew is one.
Right. That's true.
I was raped 3 times
That's who it was. That was the one person.
a day sometimes. And I was not the only girl on that island. There was a constant stream of girls being raped over and over and over again. And yes, Ghislaine must die in prison, because I've been in hell and back for the last 17 years.
And 27 for me.
I was 10 years old when Liz Stein was being trafficked. I was 10. That is how long the sex trafficking ring has been going on.
Yeah. It's, I mean, these women's lives have been destroyed. Salty Cracker weighs in and says, there's hundreds of victims, but no clients. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Epstein with tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently
They're just going through the volume of stuff. They got so much stuff, you guys. They're just going through it. Oh, they gone through it. It's done. And actually, everything they've said in the world or in their past about this was a complete lie.
All right, I want to talk about what TNT just popped up there. He said every pimp in every major city is just as guilty as Epstein. Why does this matter so much compared to the traffic girl around the corner? We're not saying that that doesn't matter. We want accountability for all the people in Hollywood and the politicians who are doing this nasty shit to kids and are still doing it because they're not getting caught.
Yeah.
Do you remember when I came on here as the foundation owner? And
Yes.
we talked about me changing the culture of the nonprofit organizations by making it so that everyone has to be a volunteer. Nobody gets paid. So that way more money gets to the people that need it. And I called out the Red Cross. I called out the United Way. You know, all these big name companies, nonprofits, where their CEOs are making millions of dollars. This is the same thing, bud. But we have to start changing the culture at the top. We have to knock off those pieces of shit in Hollywood and in politics to send a message downstream and scare them enough that they stop doing it, hopefully.
Right. And I think that, you know, to add to that, that you have elites essentially living by a different set of rules. And these people, you know, have political influence and they're basically evil people. And so we know that this happened and we just want justice for it. Something that, you know, of course, the premise is of your statement there is completely correct, TNT. It doesn't matter any more than the girl trafficked around the corner. Both are equally as important. It's just we know about this one and we want to know who the bad guys are. There's people sitting in prison for it. We want them held accountable. And I don't like the theory that if you take down these powerful people that, you know, society might unfold because they're too important to go to jail. That rubs me the wrong way. And so I don't know. I mean, because you're right that it's not more important. I just kind of feel like since we know about this and because it's been a promise and because we've had our leaders tell us that it is, you know, there is a list and there is, you know, stuff that is going on. And then we know about the hundreds of millions or billions of dollars or whatever it is total that is exchange hands. And then they just want to try to put it all on this one guy or guy and gal. It just doesn't add up, you know? And so there's this betrayal feeling and it's like, wait a minute. Y'all are talking nonsense now. And we trusted you. Yeah, I know you're not saying that the girls don't need justice. For sure.
We're not coming at you, bud. I'm trying to explain to you from my point of view why it was so important to me that this came out. You know, I agree. We need to start. And Florida actually does a really good job of making that happen. You know, they do a lot of busts down there and catch traffickers and stuff like that.
Right. I just want them all busted, I guess. I guess simply put, I want them all busted, right?
I have no love lost for anyone who hurts a child, an animal, or an innocent person that can't defend themselves. Is Iceman on your Discord?
I'm not sure if he's in the Discord. I don't think so, but he mentioned it boils down to decadence. As a civilian gets more decadent, your elites get increasingly more degenerate and embody the decadence happening in Rome and Greece and Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yes, I've been calling this out for years. The last at least 5-6 years, I said, you know what? At the end of the Roman Empire, they were so caught up in gorging themselves on food and sexual deviancy that they couldn't even, you know, form their own legions. They had to hire the barbarians, the people who were trying to take them over. They were hiring them to protect them. And they thought that was a good idea.
Yeah.
TTWS and Iceman. If you're not on the Discord, I just posted the Discord link right there.
Yeah, if you guys are interested. And I'll actually remind everybody to make sure you hit that like button. Double check that you're subscribed, all that good stuff. But continuing, this afternoon, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt responded to questions about the client list in light of these new DOJ statements. The reporter asked Carolyn, the DOJ and FBI now have concluded that there's no Jeffrey Epstein client list. What do you tell MAGA supporters who say they want anyone involved in Epstein's alleged crimes held accountable? And this is her answer.
Caroline, the DOJ and FBI have now concluded there was no Jeffrey Epstein client list. What do you tell MAGA supporters who say they want anyone involved in Jeffrey Epstein's alleged crimes to be held accountable?
This administration wants anyone who has ever committed a crime to be held accountable. And I would argue this administration has done more to lock up bad guys than certainly the previous administration. And the Trump administration is committed to truth and to transparency. That's why the Attorney General and the FBI Director pledged at the president's direction to do an exhaustive review of all of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and his death. And they put out a memo in conclusion of that review. There was material they did not release because, frankly, it was incredibly graphic and it contained child pornography, which is not something that's appropriate for public consumption. But they committed to an exhaustive investigation. That's what they did, and they provided the results of that. That's transparency.
Caroline, the DOJ and
So basically, give us nothing.
You can lie just as good as Green.
Right.
It seems.
She was also pressed about the Attorney General Pam Bondi's comments in February when she claimed she had the Epstein list on her desk.
So what happened to So the FBI looks at the circumstances surrounding the death of Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network on Fox News.
Go ahead. John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that. But again, when it comes to the FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars. They have an operation going on right now called Summer Heat, which has our murder rate trending in the lowest direction in United States history. Their emphasis on violent crime and locking up violent criminals has led to the arrest of 14,000 violent criminals. That's a 62% increase from the same time period last year. So this Attorney General and the FBI Director are committed to putting bad people behind bars where they belong. They promised an exhaustive review. That's what they did. For any further details, I would refer you to the Department of Justice.
Well, you can say what you want, but we can take Pam Bondi for her own word. You know what I mean? That's a wild story there, TNT. And what's up, Bill? Yeah, don't circle back, Caroline.
Do this, Saki jerk.
She is a master wordsmith. Yeah.
Now, see, here's the difference. I think that what's her name? The one that was his press secretary last time.
Corinne Jean-Pierre.
No. Trump's.
Oh, Trump's. It was.
She's on Fox now.
Oh, I can't remember her name, but I know you're talking about.
Yeah, see, I don't think she would have answered like that.
Yeah.
Because she always had that folder and she would have pulled something out and said, this is, and she would have just told you to go talk to them.
Right.
What it is, I guess.
I can't remember either of his press secretaries' names. One of them is like a
Sean Spicer.
One of the women's like a congress lady now, or mayor, or governor, or something like that, isn't she? The dark hair.
Sanders.
Yeah.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
That's right.
Haley McEnany. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, guys.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think Kaylee would have lied, outright lied like that. Hey, Tix, welcome in. Good to see you.
Hey, what up, Tix? Yeah, just me. It's not really outside of the realm of possibility that she was literally referring to the whole file and not just a list. I agree, it's not outside the possibility, but the words that she said was the list is on my desk.
Yeah,
so it's frustrating because you want to, because words matter.
She should have said the file is on my desk.
Right.
For me to look through. You know, that would have not, you know, then you're not getting people's hopes up and that, you know, oh, okay, she saw this list already. You know, even if she didn't get a chance to really look at it, she saw it.
Right.
That's how it came across them, to me at least.
Right. It's just being caught up with their Fox News interviews. And, you know, like I've said before, words matter. And so you got to make sure that you're, when you're in those type of positions, you know, I can mess up because I'm just a dude talking into the mic. But, you know, when you're speaking from a platform like that, from a position of power like that, when you say the list is on my desk versus the file is on my desk,
difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Jay said, so Epstein and Diddy are over with. What's the next big scandal? The next big scandal, well, the next big news story is going to be Jay Brown takes and actually fixes a liberal woman.
Yeah, they try to use the Diddy trial to distract us from stuff. I didn't pay attention to the Diddy trial a whole lot, to be honest with you.
I don't care. I mean, I care that what he was doing to people, it sucked. But most of those people put themselves in that situation.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like people that were just pulled off the street and, you know, taken there. No, they went there knowing. I mean, most of them knew the stories. They heard stuff before they went, and they still went. So I don't have any sympathy.
Right. And so maybe they're just like, you know what? This is going to require way too much of our time. People are blowing smoke up our ass left and right. We don't know if the files that we have are even, legit. So let's just, the guy's gone. Let's take the Bill Gates route. He's dead. Let's move forward with things that can actually help every American's life rather than just giving out this information. Maybe that was the deciding factor. It's like, let's just put this to bed. It'll save us a lot of time and resources. And let's get to deporting people. We just passed the big, beautiful bill. We got a bunch of money that we can spend on deporting individuals. Let's focus on that. You know, maybe that's what was going on. I don't know. But they think we're stupid. Said, I'm not giving up on them overall. There's obviously something else at play. I wish they would just say the security of our nation is not worth giving up for the Epstein list. Right. It's like, don't claim that you're being honest with us and then not like be honest with us. And then let's see.
Well, it's going to take a lot for them to earn our trust back at this point.
Right. Jay says next time they'll release some UFO files or something to save face. Yeah, maybe that's what they'll do. I'd be interested in seeing some UFO stuff, but to me, I think the alien entities, the UFOs, are actually just demons. And you know,
there's a lot of people in Congress that are devil worshippers. We know that.
That's what I think. That's what I think the alien thing is, or they're just, you know, humans. Maybe they're ancient humans, you know, from Atlantis or whatever. You know, you never know, right? But for now, I'm sticking with Earth is the only planet that has, you know, human life like we know it, which makes us that much more rare. Let's see here. Got this also here from Pierce Morgan. I don't want to spend too much more time on this, but I wanted to run through just like what everybody's been saying, what got us to this point, and then now it's just over, and we don't really have any vindication. Oh, they think we're stupid. Says, I followed the Diddy trial quite a bit. Another CIA operation. Even I can tell. LOL. Yeah, that's what a lot of people were saying. Something about the Comey's daughter was the district attorney or something like that.
Yep.
You know what Moses looks like? Have you met Moses before?
No.
Let's see here.
Right. Well.
It was one of his kids.
But this was
That's
this was Pierce Morgan actually retweeting somebody that posted a clip of his interview with Alina Habba. And this was interesting.
In this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable. Let's talk about the reverse. I believe in accountability. So you have to now go through your process. Now, I won't say they're guilty until they go through their time in court. But again, now it's time for accountability. We have seen for so many years, Pierce, in this country, many investigations, subpoenas, testimonies in Congress, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a general frustration with accountability. We take it halfway, we don't take it home. And I really believe that now with Cash and Pam, there will be accountability.
So Pierce Morgan reposted that and said, what happened?
Wrong answer.
Yeah, they have the flight logs, they have all this stuff. And then what? Yeah. I mean, it's wild. Let's see here.
My apologies for the distraction. That was Katie asking me about something with the landlord.
Yeah, you're
I
fine.
should have muted myself.
You're fine. I just muted you real quick. Yeah, that's what we want. Just me accountability. Yeah, for sure. So where do I want to go with this? Okay, so they have the footage that they were talking about. Which one do I want to pull up here? So apparently, the original story was this was Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell, right? And this quote here says, this is Epstein's prison cell per photos from DOJ released after his death. The video released by the FBI yesterday shows a completely different cell, which is this room. And okay, so you can't tell from that picture. Let me this right here. This was his cell 46. Not this one, which appears to have a 2, another number, and a 0. So funny about Pierce. Yeah, I know, right?
Pierce is like a wave. He goes whichever way it's going, and he uses it to try and keep himself relevant.
Right. He's the best thing about him is the guests and the debates, but some of them need to be longer. But anyways, I got this right here. So now this guy says, I'm firmly on team Epstein didn't do it to himself. This 10-hour video does not show Epstein's cell. It is across the entire hall from Epstein's section. We can see that in the attached image. So there's the camera that we were just looking, the camera view. There's the cell 46. Now, the DOJ released a 10-hour-long surveillance footage. That's what they were talking about. They did the color enhancements to the one, but then they have the original. And you see that, where's it at? Where is it at? Well, basically, in this video, let's see here. Apparently, a minute was cut out of it. I'm going through this. This is a 25 little thread here. But
That's
apparently,
what TNT just asked. He said, "Did you see from 11:59 to 12 was missing?"
Oh yeah, thank you, TNT. Yeah, exactly. But it looks like also people going in and out of this cell in that time period when they said nobody went in. I could be wrong about that, but house between. Okay, so anyways, basically a minute is missing from it, and people are like, "What's going on?"
Where's our living encyclopedia for all this?
Right. I thought it was in this thread, but regardless, this is an interesting thread. If folks want to check it out, I'll actually retweet it if anybody's interested in reading through the full 25
If you
posts.
retweet it, I'll go grab it and throw it on Discord.
Okay. You can also find it on my profile, Worrell. Let's see. So this is our guys over at PBD. Vinny debating Adam. And this was an interesting little exchange.
We are built on pedophilia and blackmailing the most powerful
What do you
people.
mean we are built? Define that. Do you mean our entire country,
No,
our
no,
entire
I'm
government,
just saying,
our entire
I'm saying
FBI,
this.
CIA?
I'm saying this.
Or
Whoever,
this is one little operation that
Adam,
they don't want to
Adam,
expose.
whoever he was working for, Epstein, Mossad, CIA, everything. Apparently,
Okay, yeah, that's what it was, TNT. Thanks for refreshing me. They pointed out that the guard had moved. They had it circled in the post that I'd seen in that minute where, where it ended and where it picked up, there was movement between where the person was in that minute. So yeah, if you're trained, a minute is a long time to do something for sure. So anyways, I'm gonna start this over.
we are built on pedophilia and blackmailing the most powerful
What do you
people.
mean we are built? Define that. Do you
I'm
mean our
saying-
entire country,
No,
our
no,
entire
I'm
government,
just saying,
our
I'm
entire
saying
FBI,
this.
CIA?
I'm saying this.
Or this is one little operation that
Adam,
they don't want to
Adam,
expose.
whoever he was working for, Epstein, Mossad, CIA, everything. Apparently, the most powerful people on the world were flying to an island and having sex with underage kids because she said it. There's tens of thousands of hours of them doing it. If we're built on that and the most powerful people that are running the show are in charge, the guys telling Cash Patel, the thing that you just read, shut up. Shut up about it. Hold on, you know who I am. He knows who I am. I want accountability for everybody. If it's Trump, if it's Bill Gates, if it's Bill Clinton, I don't give a shit. If it's the president of anything, expose them because, Adam, the truth has to come out.
Okay, so I only have one question for you,
Yes.
my dear friend. I agree with you, but at what price?
Take a deep breath.
Okay. But hold on, hear me out.
I'm sorry. PBD said, take a deep breath and have a drink of water there, Vinny. He's getting a little worked up.
At any price. The sanctity of protecting kids is worth any price in my opinion.
Right.
We have too many kids who are getting fucked over by the system, not just by the people who are hurting them, but also by the justice system who treats them like third-rate citizens because they would rather work on a dead person's fucking case because that gets them more publicity and helps them get to the next fucking step in the rung and the ladder in their career.
Yep. Jay says they can hide it. They can hide it from us, but they can't hide it from the Lord. They'll get theirs. Amen to that, brother. Amen to that.
Price.
At any price, Adam.
So you're saying to expose whatever
So Adam said, at what price?
happened on Epstein Island, you're willing to do whatever this looks like.
Yes.
Tear down the government, expose all the secrets.
I think this is the first time I've ever agreed with Vinny.
Oh, I love Vinny.
No, I think Vinny's a dick. I'd punch him in the mouth if I ever met him.
Adam's a fool.
I don't even watch PBD. I think PBD's a hypocrite, but that's my opinion.
I don't watch the show that often, but anytime Vinny's on like Peers or on a different show, he's always super passionate, America first, pro veterans and stuff like that. So he's won me over.
Just to find out what's up.
What do you mean, Adam?
Because these are the most powerful people in the world.
Yeah.
They're apparently on this island.
Adam,
So-
let the truth be told or the heavens fall. I don't
MCC.
care. Yeah,
Well-
Adam, and that's who Vincent Oshana is. I am
All right.
100% accountability, and I don't give a if Adam, if
Yeah,
that's what
but
we were built
at
on.
what price?
I don't
At
give a shit.
tearing
There is
down
no
America?
price. Guess what the price is, Adam? God.
So you
God's
want
the price.
you're
You're
rule,
gonna answer them
you
anyway.
want to rule a city of ashes.
I don't give a shit if it's built on
but see-
Exactly. If it's built on this bullshit, it can fall to ashes.
pedophilia and raping kids.
But
Yes, because
you're being emotional.
no, I'm not.
No.
I'm being
You have to
real.
understand.
No.
The whole concept of do you want to cut your nose off to spite your face?
No, that
There
doesn't
might be an
apply.
issue. But do you want to cut your whole nose off and ruin your entire face?
If my nose is as bad as those people, I'm gonna cut that thing off.
Well, here's the thing. If we consider ourselves Christians, we should be praying to God to root this stuff out, and if it need be, to do another Sodom and Gomorrah moment.
Right.
That much about this
Adam,
entire
if
issue.
the machine is running right now because pedophiles are running the show and they're telling him, shut the hell up because we're all pedophiles, knock it down. And my last thing, Pat, what bothered me about what he said is we're not going to re-victimize the girls and the victims.
He
We're
who
not going to do
kisses
it.
Cash?
Yes, yeah, Cash. Guess what? Nobody wants to see any girl. I don't want to see any kids, male, boy, underage, blur them out. But who's the guy that's touching them? Who's the guy that's molesting them and raping them? This is a horrible argument. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't.
I love his passion.
No,
but
I
yeah,
get it.
if the fuel of your car is based on dirt, this type of trash, go ahead and just drive that car into the lake and get a new car.
I'm gonna share a quick story with you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
And Katie's shared her story already, so that's the only reason I'm going to talk about it. Katie was molested when she was younger.
Oh.
My 4-year-old came out and told me sexual things that a 4-year-old should not know.
Right.
And we went through the justice system. We went and did everything the right way. Drove her to all kinds of appointments and this and that, only to have the district attorney call me one day and say, we're not going to prosecute. I said, why not? And they said, well, we don't want to put a 4-year-old on the stand. I said, you want to put her on the stand? In Pennsylvania, they have a law, and it was passed 2 years prior to this, that anyone under the age of 12 can testify via video in the judge's chamber, so they don't have to be face-to-face with the person that hurt them. And I'll be honest with you, I lost my shit on him. I said, if she's sucking your dick, I said, wait, she was never any good at that. I said, he must be doing it. And years later, to find out stuff that I found out, I was probably right.
Right.
But again, it comes
There's
down
not a lot of justice. I've heard stories from folks that I know where if the abuser was the breadwinner of the family, they would not imprison that person because they don't want to basically destroy the family's livelihood. So yeah, there's lots of messed up scenarios with when it comes to the courts and things like that. But that's whenever you see those stories of the guys that the vigilantes that take that type of stuff into their own hands. But not advocating for that at all. But that's why you see that type of stuff.
If I had to do it over again, knowing what I know now, I would have did it differently.
Right. So let's see here. Let me see.
I think Jay infected TNT's phone with his autocorrect.
Let's see what else we got here. And we can skip that one. Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier. So Luke Rakowski posted, if we had an FBI that can look into this, Jeffrey Epstein's secret bank account is still moving millions of dollars and no one knows why. Excuse me, that was as of February 2nd, 2024. So it's a year and a half old. But that's 4 or 5 years after he died. A judge in the Virgin Islands has declared there is no explanation for why millions of dollars have been moving between one of Jeffrey Epstein's secret banks. So it's obviously bigger than Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, who are deceased and in prison, right? According to this story and this judge. The Babylon Bee posted this. This is funny. Pam Bondi confirms the Ark of the Covenant is sitting on her desk waiting to be reviewed. I saw that and had to share it. But let's look at Judge Joe Brown. He has a theory, and that is that Trump is using the Epstein files to blackmail the deep state to surrender. Wouldn't that be sweet? But I don't know. Let's just hear what he has to say. I haven't heard this yet.
Trump has taken control. He didn't do it. They're shutting it down from everything I've seen. He is taking control of the FBI CIA blackmail file. And now I suddenly see this deep state more and more rolling over. People say, well, that's very immoral to do. The argument would be it's too damaging to bring this act and bring down the whole government. I'm not endorsing that. But the best approximation I've got is they get the files. They raid the FBI. The FBI raids the FBI 5 months ago. When they hid the files in New York, they make the guy resign that was covering it up, and Comey's daughter's still there. They then load the gun, cock the gun, point at the deep state's head, and now suddenly the NATO, everybody's kissing Trump's butt, and it looks like Trump is now in control of the file, and obviously they're not going to read in the FBI. It's the CIA and Ratcliffe doing it. The best approximation I've got, and it is speculation, but I got a lot of points, is that Trump has decided to just use the file against them. What do you think, Judge?
I think you're right on point with that. I think a great deal of what happened with Smith and Millargo when the FBI raided it some years ago, and this thing that clearly they had no standing to go against about him supposedly having classified confidential documents, when, as we have discussed, President of the United States under the Constitution as chief diplomat and commander-in-chief has been held to have absolutely unquestionable authority as to what he declares either confidential and secret or decides to declare is not such. So my sneaking suspicion is that a lot of what he refused to turn over to the archivist, which was unconstitutional in terms of what it was trying to put in place through statutory override of constitutional authority, which is wrong, is that there was wrongdoing that if he turned it over to the archivist was going to be turned over to the people who were recorded doing wrong, and they would destroy it. So we had an obligation to the people to maintain control of that, which he did. And I see absolutely nothing wrong with it. And it's been dropped. It's dead. It's not there, but he knows that. And I have a sneaking suspicion that when the investigations are completed and they're solid, we're going to start seeing something come out of it.
So it's an interesting theory that the deep state knew Trump was keeping this information. They tried to get it when they raided Mar-a-Lago under the Biden administration. And now he retained it and is using it against him. I love the theory, and I'm okay with it if they're really going to take the bad guys down. Maybe only time will tell. But I do think what Blair White posts here is actually interesting point. If they didn't get jobs in the administration, these three would be on X right now talking about dismantling the FBI, and they would be asking for Pam Bondi to step down, or whoever the person in her place would be, right? And I totally agree with that, and I think that's a valid point. And what else did I have here? Oh yeah, and then the old man posted, I can't believe Epstein did that to himself right before he was about to be acquitted due to a complete lack of evidence. And I know that that's kind of off base, but I get the point. They had him on the video, so he was the perpetrator according to the story. But I get it. If they didn't have anything on him, why would he have done that to himself in prison? He also added that on an unrelated note, Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through him, and there is none other way nor name given under heaven whereby man can be saved in the kingdom of God. So appreciate him saying that, because that is the truth. And that's pretty much where we're gonna leave that one. It's basically calling for Scam Bondi to step down, and I don't know. I guess the other two can stick around for a while, because I don't know who else I'd trust to be the director of the FBI. But, there is a whole nother layer to that, which, if you want to blame the Jews, you can go down. Kash Patel's girlfriend, or wife, or whoever it is, I don't know, some other stuff, but I'm just fatigued on that stuff, so I'm over it. Which I guess Netanyahu was meeting with Trump today in the White House, by the way. So let's look at this other big story, the Texas floods. This is a heartbreaking story, and a lot of people are mad. They don't really know who to blame, but they want to blame somebody. One of the guys in my group chat, the Democrat, he was basically calling for arrests and wanted results. Try to blame the camp director, who actually died in the flood. And the story is that he was trying to save some of the girls in the process. So I think that's kind of a despicable take, but that's some of the takes.
I've seen a lot of despicable takes by the Democrats. And thankfully some of them have had.
Well, we got a few of them here we're going to get into for sure. But this haunting photo shows Camp Mystic campers just days before every girl was swept away by the Texas flood. Really sad. Included in here is actually not that she's more important than anybody, but one of the Kansas City Chiefs ownership family members, the Hunt family, was lost in this, which is kind of like the side story to this that is trending, at least as it's trending. But the tragedy began around 4 a.m. Friday as the girls were sleeping just a few hundred feet from the Guadalupe River. The bodies of 10 of the girls, ages 8 and 9, have been recovered, along with the counselor, Chloe Childress, who was 18. 3 girls and the counselor, Catherine Fizerio, 19, have not been found. The rising 3rd and 4th graders at the youngest, as the youngest campers were housed in the flatlands closest to the river in some cabins just 225 feet from the bank. The older girls stayed on the higher ground on Senior Hill. After a freak rainstorm dumped a month's worth of rain on the Texas Hill Country, in just 2 hours, the Guadalupe rose 20 feet in a matter of minutes, cresting upstream in Hunt, Texas, about 6:30 a.m. The camp, with about 750 girls, a storied Christian sleep-away destination for some Texas, boasts elite families in Houston, Dallas, and Austin, now counts 27 victims dead, with 10 girls plus Ferruzzo missing. Most victims are young girls from the flatlands cabins. Photos inside and nearby the cabin. The handy hut shows the water rose nearly to the top of the door frame before receding. You can see here how high the water level got. Some of these images here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's devastating. So, Amara King posted, the camp is where because Destiny, woke Destiny's on the scene. Yeah, lost cause. Thank you, Bill.
Just me. It's because Destiny's a piece of shit. There's no salvaging him. He says stuff just to appeal to a certain demographic that he knows he can get riled up, so that they start posting on his page, and then he ends up making money off. But he's just like the Krasensteins.
Right. And so he posted, maybe the kids weren't fit for camping near a river if they couldn't swim. Amari King countered and said, "Camp is where kids learn to swim. Genius. You know this if you actually had kids instead of constantly swallowing them."
I hope that NordVPN sues the hell out of him. Did you see that post?
I did, but I didn't get into it. Apparently, he was acting like he was sponsored by NordVPN or something like that during the ad, and he wasn't, or during that video, and he wasn't.
Yeah, well, it was a post on X. He said that maybe it was God punishing them for using NordVPN to get around the Texas porn ban.
Oh, so I see.
And NordVPN actually came, and then he put like code Destiny or something for 25% off. And NordVPN came back and said this gave him hell about it.
Yeah, they're suing him, right? Or I think they might.
So.
I heard that they are, but
they said they're going to talk to the lawyer to see what actions they can take. I believe.
Right.
So I think I'll shoot him a message because I use NordVPN for the foundation, so I might shoot them a message and tell them I expect them to follow through with that.
Right. Well, that's not even the worst of it, in my opinion. To be honest, these other two ladies take the cake when it comes to this.
You're talking about the doctor and
yeah. And so this lady, she says she's a TikToker. She says the young girls died in the Texas flood because of racism and because illegals are being deported. Quote, more white people will have to die in order for MFers to care. So yeah, we're going to play this.
I'm going to say it because y'all scary as fuck, and I don't.
You're scary with those weird cheek piercings.
Don't give a damn. Them little girls, them people died because of racism, not politics. Boom, I said it. I don't give a fuck. And am I sad? No. Nope. Because more YT people will have to DIE in order for motherfuckers to what? CARE. I said what the fuck I said. I don't give a fuck, and minds are here with me.
She spelled the wrong word. She's like that uncle that goes out to the car that spells words around kids, but he spells the wrong word. He's like, let's go out to the CAR and smoke some dope.
We voted the correct thing.
Does she paint those eyebrows on? She looks like fucking Spock.
Probably. It's not a good look.
The fuck you so just the night before the flash flood happened, y'all were okay with motherfuckers being stripped away from their motherfucking families and never seeing them again, people being deported. Y'all were okay with that.
Yeah,
be okay.
These little girls didn't break the laws.
Anybody.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Like, let's compare apples to apples, not just skin color. Like, look at this psycho on her face.
With not finding Sarah Lou. Be okay with not finding Billy. Be okay with never seeing them again. Keep that same energy.
Hi, Cassandra.
I'm here for it. I am so here for it. Because I've been reading the comments and the shit y'all be saying.
Right, Bill. I'm surprised she doesn't blame Trump and ICE or the J6ers or something. The old defaults.
Some are blaming Trump.
Oh, they are. Yeah. Remember the people that like to call out Trump back in the day, where he said something about the hurricanes, and they were like, he can't control where the hurricanes go or whatever. I can't remember that whole story, but there was something like the Democrats were freaking out because he was acting like they were acting like Trump said the hurricanes. I can't remember that whole thing, but it seemed kind of irrelevant and just stupid at the time, but now it's like the people are saying the opposite. That's funny. Oh, hi.
Some people. We sorry that it's white people now, but that's going to happen. This is going to be a repetitive cycle going to happen over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until y'all get tired. Racism cost y'all more than y'all thought. Racism wrote a what's that?
She's happy that this happened to these little girls.
Racism wrote a check that your ass couldn't cash. Yeah, racism wrote a check that your ass couldn't cash.
Oh, really? All right. So that lady got fired.
These people, they want a race war, but they really don't understand that they don't want a race war.
Yeah, exactly. They careful what you ask for, right? Nice five head there. TNT says.
Need a freaking 9-iron to get across that thing.
So then this lady, let me pull up which I got two of them. Which one do I want to
I think the doctor was the worst one I saw.
Yeah, it's just two stories on it's two different stories. We'll go with this one first. It's just a headline. Pediatrician fired for vile post suggesting Texas flood victims were Trump supporters who got what they voted for. A pediatrician who has been fired over a vile post suggesting that more than 80 killed in the horrific Texas floods, including dozens of kids, were President Trump supporters who got what they voted for. Dr. Christina B. Probst drew widespread scorn following the disparaging since deleted post under her old Facebook username, Christina, according to the Mediaite.
Oh, so she was trying to be fucking sneaky about it and still got caught.
May all as a quote, may all visitors, children, non-MAGA voters, and pets be safe and dry, Probst wrote in the now viral post. Kerr County MAGA voted to gut FEMA. They deny climate change. May they get what they voted for. Bless their hearts. The Facebook post quickly went viral after the screenshot was shared by libs of TikTok. Probst's employer, Bluefish Pediatrics, initially said the employee had been suspended before announcing that the individual is no longer employed there. Quote, as we previously mentioned in our original statement, we strongly condemn the comments that were made in that post. The post does not reflect the value standards or mission of Bluefish Pediatrics, the company said. Well, she should be stripped of her doctorates, right? If she's a doctor, because this is a pediatrician, right?
Yeah.
And shame on you if you take your child to this woman after this. But here's the post itself. May all visitors, children, non-MAGA voters, and pets be safe and dry. Kerr County MAGA who voted to gut FEMA. They deny climate change. May they get what they voted for. Bless their hearts. Let's see. Probst was affiliated with Bluefish Pediatrics in Texas in the aftermath of a devastating flood that claimed the lives of over 80 people. She posted a vile message.
Children who have died this week in the Texas Medical Center, who have died. Excuse me, sir, you're taking my time, reclaiming my time.
They were discussing mask. Okay, so she was for the mask mandates.
It was a surprise.
I gotta be careful playing that because I had that music playing in the background. This is the full statement that Bluefish Pediatrics put out to our patients and community. At Bluefish Pediatrics, our hearts are broken for the families impacted by the devastating flooding in our Central Texas communities near Camp Mystic. Like so many across Texas and beyond, we are grieving with all those who have lost loved ones and are praying fervently for all the families still awaiting the news. We are aware that a personal social media comment by one of our physicians has caused significant hurt and outrage. The content and timing of the post do not reflect our values, standards, or missions of Bluefish Pediatrics. We want to be clear, we do not support or condone any statement that politicizes tragedy, diminishes human dignity, or fails to clearly uphold compassion for every child and family, regardless of background and beliefs. Our practice exists for one purpose only: to provide excellent, loving, and respectful care to children and their families. Our patients come from every walk of life, every political belief, and every background, and we are honored to serve each of them with empathy and integrity. Well, I got to argue that little girls probably aren't really political, right?
No,
kids in general. Kids in general, right?
Yeah, she's trying to say that the families deserve to suffer.
Right. And, maybe she said this right away, and then the news about the camp came out later. I'm not giving her a benefit of the doubt at all, but that's maybe why you shouldn't be so gut reacting to any particular story, right? Maybe you kind of got to let it simmer for a minute and find all the information or more information before you come out here and just post some nonsense like what she did.
Well, like they say, Democrats can't let good tragedy go to waste.
Right. That's true. But she got fired. So, like Mike Engelman said, disgustingly evil. This person is supposed to be a doctor caring for kids specifically.
How many people? I wonder how many kids she injected with a vaccine that are, well, sorry.
Yeah, that's enough said right there about that. You wonder how many kids that she did that to, and I'm sure she was happy to do it. Captain Willie Grimm says Marjorie Taylor Greene knows about cloud seeding and climate control. DARPA, she forwarded a bill to make it a felony. Yes, that's actually what I was going to get into just after we hear Rosie O'Donnell, because she can't help herself. Rosie O'Donnell wrongly blames President Trump making cuts to the weather service for the loss of life during the Texas floods. This is actually something that was denied by Caroline Leavitt in today's press conference. She said that the warnings in the area, everything was put out adequately per the investigations that were done into it. There was no we cut FEMA, so there wasn't somebody there to push the button like what happened in California when the wildfires or whatever it was most recently, where the fire chief lady, or was it the fire chief lady? Whoever it was that was supposed to be there to activate the sirens.
Oh no, that was in St. Louis.
Was it St. Louis? Somebody wasn't there. Some woke person wasn't there to activate the sirens.
To a training session instead of being at her post.
Right.
Even though they had that warning set up there.
Right.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
Because I was talking to Jamie about it.
Yeah, that was in the tornadoes and stuff that just happened in the Midwest. Right. Okay, that's right. I couldn't remember what story that pertained to, but I was fishing because I knew it was one of the recent ones. But yeah, it's not like anything like that happened, right? DEI hire wasn't on the post, but this is Rosie.
And what a horror story in Texas. The flash floods in Texas, the Guadalupe River.
Her glasses look fake.
51 missing. 51
is that a filter?
More missing. Children.
Oh, that's a filter trying to make her face look less wrinkly and old, and it made her glasses look cartoony or something, I bet.
At a camp. And when the president guts all of the early warning systems and the weathering forecast abilities of the government, these are the results that we're going to start to see on a daily basis, because he's put this country in so much danger by his horrible decisions and this ridiculously immoral bill that he just signed into law. As Republicans cheered, people will die as a result, and they've started already. Shame on him. Shame on every GOP sycophant who's listening and following the disastrous decisions of this mentally incapacitated POTUS.
Good old Trump derangement syndrome on display. You gotta watch the train wreck sometimes.
We've had.
Okay, so this is what I want to take us to next here. Do I have it? Okay, I do. So Owen Schroyer went on the Quarterings live show this afternoon, and he breaks down what's going on in Texas as far as cloud seeding. Now, I shared on the last show, I believe it was, that DeSantis has banned all forms of cloud seeding in Florida. And I think this is something that needs to be done across the United States. It probably should be a federal ban. They want to talk about global climate change and all this other bullshit when we know that cloud seeding is a huge thing. China is terraforming their deserts by cloud seeding. There was the big flood in Dubai where they got a year's worth of rain overnight, just in 2024, and they blame cloud seeding. It's always in these same areas that they cloud seed that these crazy things happen.
I don't know if you've been paying attention to China right now, but this is the third time since they built this Three Gorges Dam that they've had to open all 11 locks because they've gotten so much rain.
Right, and I don't think this is the first time that they overdid it. According to Owen Schroyer, he refers to a time before where they overdid it, but it wasn't in such a heavily populated area. They also had the crazy winter storm that screwed all the solar panels, the solar stations or whatever in Texas a few years back, could have been affected by it. Could have been an effect of cloud seeding. But they want to say global climate change whenever humans are the ones who are literally controlling the weather. But this was a good take here from Owen.
Things that my angle on covering it is not from like, obviously this happened and it's bad, because that's, anybody could say that. But what I thought was interesting is the immediate politicization of it and the backlash to that. There was a pediatrician in from Houston that came out and was like, well, if you didn't vote for MAGA, I hope you're dry. And if you did, you got what you deserved. She has been fired. There have been several people who've come out and said, well, FEMA didn't, because Trump did these cuts, FEMA didn't have accurate time to warn people. We now know that isn't true. I mean, it was just, unless that's changed, I thought I saw that there were some flash flood warnings. It was just, if you see some of the video, like the river, like 10x'd in size in 30 minutes. Like there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can evacuate. What do you make of the kind of the people rushing? The same woman said, it's because of climate change. Even though this area of Texas is prone to flash floods a lot, given its landscape. What do you make of the...
And real quick, while they're talking, I'm going to put on the screen a sped up version of the water levels rising, just so you get a kind of a visual effect of how fast this actually hit.
The fallout of this, obviously they're still searching for dozens of people, which is a tragedy.
Well, it sounds like, it sounds like this is kind of the normal thing that the left does whenever they can use a tragic event to attack their political opposition. And I suppose both sides do it, if we're being fair. Sure. But I guess, that sounds like what is happening with some of those individuals that you mentioned. I will say the irony of man-made climate change, and this is it's one of the greatest examples we've had. The real man-made climate change is we're literally engaging in geoengineering. There is a government program. It's called Texas Weather Modification Program. I've been to their government hearings. They're very low attendance. Nobody goes to them. I'm usually the only person in media there. And they talk about how they do cloud seeding. In fact, there was an instance, I believe it was 2018 maybe, where, what they want to do is obviously they want to increase rain in certain months to have a higher crop yield, right? I mean, that's the goal. So
they've been doing this in like Saudi Arabia and stuff for years too, right?
And so this is the real man-made. This is the real man-made climate change. These programs are all public. I shared the government documents on my X account while the floods were happening. It just so happens there is a very specific project in the exact region where the floods happened. And as I said, they were doing a program, I think it was outside of Houston, about 10 years or so ago. It resulted in flooding of the plains, and they came out and they said, yeah, we overdid it. We have to do some remeasurements. We probably likely had an impact on these floods. So was that the case with these floods? Maybe, maybe not. That there has been flooding before in that exact region as recent as 1987. But when they sit here and they talk about man-made climate change, the real man-made climate change literally happens in your skies every day. They're spraying chemicals. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's very public knowledge now. Most of the programs they run, they don't even hide it. And so that's what's so strange to me is when I hear people wanting to blame this all on climate change, but then ignore the actual government programs that are public that talk about cloud seeding and geoengineering specifically.
What do you know about that stuff, Luke?
This has been talked about for an extremely long time. I mean, we've been talking about it for over 20 plus years, especially when it comes.
Yeah, Tix Bomber, that's totally true. His Monday show when he has Luke on is definitely one that I've been trying to catch lately. I said the quartering is dragging itself out of the hole. This is something I tuned back into his channel for. Yeah, I agree.
To HARP, and it comes to a lot of the kind of weather modification programs that the government openly admits. My friend Kristen Megan, she was a whistleblower on this. I could have her on the show. Let's have her on the show next Monday, actually. I'm going to ask her to come on. She's in the Michigan area. She's an extremely
she's been
smart,
on before, right?
Woman.
Ex-military
Kristen Megan,
or
yeah,
something like that?
she's been on. Yeah, she's ex-military. She's been on with me on my show. I'm gonna have her on here. I'm gonna set it up for next Monday. She could explain a lot of this stuff in detail. But China openly admitted this stuff. That's why they have massive floods in certain areas and dry spells in other areas. The Chinese are actually trying to terraform their desert right now in order to have more kind of irrigation. So every action has an equal counteraction to it. But we're talking about the Russians having tsunami weapons. That's what the Russians and Chinese have. What we have is even bigger than that. And the type of stuff that we could do, especially when it comes to manipulating Mother Nature, is absolutely terrifying, to be quite honest with you. And there's weird stuff happening with the climate now, and it wouldn't surprise me if the government has their fingerprints all over it.
I'm going to let, I know Owen's got to get out of here, but we're going to keep talking about this, Luke, for another few minutes. Owen, I really appreciate you coming on.
Okay, so he might have went on, but I wanted to just share that part where he was pointing out that he's the only reporter that's been going to these meetings. Like, he's actually a pretty credible source when it comes to the, it's funny that he got the climate change tag. I'm probably going to get it too now. Anyways, that nobody's paying attention to it. I'm not going to put it on the screen, but I did a video on this when the flood happened in Dubai. And they can cloud seed multiple ways. See if I can't share this without. Well, basically, what they do is they take the weather stations and they monitor for atmosphere suitable for clouds. Then they take a plane with specialized flares up into the sky, and they'll release either it's a
sodium, potassium.
It's either a salt derivative or a silver nitrate or something, maybe. Mm-hmm. It's one of two different things. And what that does is it gives a nucleus for water to form around. And then you get the water molecules that, gather together, you get clouds, and then you get rain, right? And so they release that into the sky. The other thing that they do is they can actually launch missile looking things from the ground up into the sky. And I don't think they use those in the United States, but they do use them in Dubai or India, and maybe probably China too, to be honest, but I'm not 100%. I'm just referring to this one story here that was talking about the Dubai floods, and releases the same type of thing. You get the rain, and they get an increase 15 to 25% in rainfall each year. And I'll add probably when done right. You know what I mean? You have those outliers when you get the month of rain in a few hours, like what we just saw in Texas, or the year of rain, I think is what it was that they saw in Dubai. Silver iodide is what they use. Thank you, Tix. I knew it was a silver derivative.
He says dry ice.
Silver oxide. Okay. Sorry, what was that, Chris?
I just wanted to talk about how the landscape really made that flood even worse down there. And that's because they don't have, where we live up here in Pennsylvania, when you're watching my show, if I'm walking around, you see how I have that grass everywhere, and we have trees and all that stuff. Down most of Texas is desert. It's just a bunch of packed sand that acts like cement and doesn't let water soak in. Mm-hmm. So it just washes downstream. It just pushes everything downstream.
Yeah.
And so, there's nothing absorbing, there's nothing slowing it down. And it just makes it 100 times worse than what it would be in a normal area.
All right. The first rule of Otter Club is you don't. Okay. I said too much. My bad.
Starting to worry about you people.
They used dry ice in the Vietnam era. Interesting.
I've heard of gerbil jamming. We're not doing outer jamming, are we?
No. That's funny. You mentioned gerbils. I like this. I'm gonna sidetrack you for a second. I was watching real crime YouTube. I like this channel called Explore With Us. It's EWU. And he has different channels like Body Cam and other stuff like that. And there was one he put out the other day. They were looking for a guy who had broken into a pet store and let a bunch of the animals out, and he stole some gerbils. And this guy's last name was Pancake. No joke. And so the cops were yelling at him when they busted him, "Where are the gerbils, Mr. Pancake? Where's the gerbils?" It was so funny.
Can't make this shit up.
And they arrested him. They used scissors and they cut up the pant leg, and he had him down in his pants. Oh, so funny. Anyways.
Poor gerbil.
Hearing the cops yell, "Where are the gerbils, Mr. Pancake?" I was like, what is going on? So funny. So funny.
Jay asked, has anybody seen a video of protesters outside of Gator Gitmo, or are they too scared? Some Congress members tried to go down.
Six Mama, you seen it? Gerbils are coming out of his socks and shit. It's so good. It's funny. If you've grown plants before, you have slightly moist and super dry.
Yeah.
Water it or it just runs right off. Yeah, that's true. Yep. I did see protesters down there day one, and that's the only thing I've seen. I can't remember the guy's name. That's awesome. You've seen that, Tix. Yeah, I like that guy's channel, man. I'm sure he makes a killing. Some of his videos. He's got the evergreen videos. Anyways, so Beef Initiative posted, breaking: federal agencies have paid a private cloud seeding company to spray Texas skies just 2 days before deadly floods killed 60 plus. No public comment, no oversight, no accountability. Call it weather modification, call it a conspiracy, but it's happening. He posted a document here. Regular meeting January 28th, 2025. He highlighted, consider and take action to approve the agreement for cloud seeding professional services between Rainmaker Technology Corporation and WTWMA, members consistent with the WTWMA interlocal participation agreement and current program financial assessments. So Rainmaker is a company that is currently providing rain enhancement in California, Idaho, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Jordan. They will be conducting research to further improve rain enhancement, provide meteorological services, flight and seeding tracking, in addition to using electrostatic seeding. After discussion of the benefits of contracting with Rainmaker, a motion was made by Bob Buchholz to approve the agreement with Rainmaker. Carrie Joyce seconded, and the motion carried. So it's obvious, like it's not a conspiracy anymore that they're cloud seeding. And
Texas has a website about their cloud seeding. I've been on it.
Mm-hmm. And Owen Schroyer said that when the floods were happening, that he was putting out all the official documentation on his channel. I actually was going to go and try to dig that stuff up, but I just I had so much other stuff to share with you guys. I just didn't think to do that. But
I don't know if I would do that, but they might try and smack you for it.
Yeah, you never know. But right here, this is just the old story. Dubai sees severe flooding after getting 2 years worth of rain in 24 hours. So it was 2 years worth of rain that they got. This was in April 17th, 2024. That was the Dubai story that I was referring to. I just wanted to bring that up as in reference so you guys seen it, right?
You know, the other night, what was it, last Thursday, we had flooding here where I was. We got over 5 inches of rain in 2 hours here. So I don't doubt that they're doing it more than one place.
Yeah. Well, right there, they just listed like 6 states and Jordan, another country. So that's just one entity. Excuse me. Because we know what's going on in other areas. Captain said it was happening in Alaska. Jay said he thinks it's happening in Oklahoma. We know it happened in Dubai, China, other places as well. Final story. We have a massive ice raid today in Los Angeles. And got this one here that well, let me actually, I'm going to pull up this post first. This was from Jack Posobiec. This was ISIS now launched a series of raids to begin cleaning up the biggest sanctuary city on the West Coast. And there's no audio with it, but you can see they're moving in. This is some kind of park. Immediately, the mayor, Karen Bass, showed up, dropped whatever she was doing to come out here and basically protest against these dudes and stand in the way. Trying to use kids as the excuse. There was kids in the park just beforehand.
I hope they arrested her and threw her ass in jail.
Right. Obstructing for sure. This is federal business. Get your little mayor nonsense out of here, lady.
So after you're done with this, I do have something funny for you that I saw that I think you'll like after we're done talking about this one.
Okay. Cool. So just got this oh wait. That's not it. Where'd it go? Did I close it out? Okay, I guess I closed it out.
Oh.
There we go. So Ironic City is grinding to a halt as ICE raids send as many migrant workers into hiding. So they're fleeing the city, hiding, or being deported. Heavily armed ICE agents stormed a popular park in downtown Los Angeles on Monday as Mayor Karen Bass blasted the Trump administration's military operation. Immigration agents were seen roaming through MacArthur Park and driving through the streets in armored tanks, while some were patrolling on horseback. Bringing in the tanks, I love it. The Democrat mayor slammed the show of force as a political stunt meant to terrorize immigrants as she arrived to confront the agents. This morning, I went to MacArthur Park where I saw federal agents, military vehicles, and federalized troops. Another example of the administration ratcheting up the chaos by deploying what looked like a military operation in our American city, she said. Well, you F around and you find out. And that's what happens when you're a sanctuary city that has let in the amount of people that you have. And, you've created the cesspool that you have. But I saw today.
I think that if a city declares itself as a sanctuary city and the council votes on it and the mayor is all for it, I think that should be considered seditious conspiracy against the government, and they should all be arrested and thrown in jail for it.
Oh, I agree, and I think that they should be cut off from federal funding. If you didn't mention that at the beginning, I think that should definitely be a factor.
Oh yeah.
As well. Let's see here. Tick says no Jamie tonight. Yeah, she was here for a little while. She had to go. I think she was going to bed. Maybe she went to watch Tim Pool. I don't know. No, I'm just teasing. I don't know. But she continued, said, what I saw today looked like a city under siege and under occupation. Well, what we see every day in Los Angeles looks like a city under occupation from foreign, military-aged men who've taken over the parks, taken over the schools, taken over the streets. This lady's crazy, but Bass said children were at the summer camp when the ICE agents descended to the park. Well, those kids were not at harm at all, right? To have armored vehicles deployed on the streets of our city, to federalize the National Guard, to have the U.S. Marines who are trained to kill abroad deployed to our city, all this is outrageous and it is un-American, she added. Well, you got to have some fear in these people that you're going after. And so, yeah, when the Marines are coming for you, you kind of move, right? The point is to get people to self-deport. If people self-deport, that's the easiest thing that you can get and the cheapest method to do it. Way more effective. And you can deport, more people can self-deport in a day than we can round up and deport and put in, go through alligator Alcatraz or anything like that. But the consistent raids on Los Angeles have driven the migrant workforce into hiding, sparking concerns over the sanctuary cities already rocky economic state, as the California city tries to recuperate from wilderness. Okay, I'm trying to read fast and I'm messing up. So as the California city tries to recuperate from wildfires, businesses and developers have revealed they do not have the manpower to get these crucial jobs done. Oops. That's what happens when you hire cheap labor and you cut off your American citizen, your American brother and sister from the job that was rightfully theirs and the wages that they deserve to make a decent living. I'm sitting here using this excuse that now we don't have workers. Well, you got along this far on bonus time. It comes to an end now. Want to go over here and show this real fast because, man, don't tell me. Okay. Mario Nafal posted, breaking ice launches massive immigration raid in LA's MacArthur Park. Hundreds of federal agents. Let's see here. Mayor Pass has demanded the raid stop, but the feds push forward. Protesters are swelling in MacArthur Park with reports of federal agents' tires being slashed and objects being thrown at agents and vehicles. Basically more of what we'd already seen go on in Los Angeles, fighting the raids, fighting ICE. Good Lord, what was that?
Mayor Bass, can you at least explain your purpose for being here? Oh, I like him. Hey, I take back what I said to you.
Okay, so that was Karen Bass there on the scene. Press Secretary, border agents deserve respect, slams the Democratic rhetoric. This was 6 hours ago.
After Democratic Congresswoman. An armed shooter today was shot in McAllen, Texas, after opening fire on Border Patrol agents.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. There was a guy that opened fire at Border Patrol agents in Texas.
That ended well for him.
Just days after Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal recently said she gets, quote, inspired when activists obstruct ICE. Does the White House expect Democrats to tone down their rhetoric in light of what we saw today in McAllen, Texas?
We certainly call on Democrats to tone down their rhetoric against ICE and Border Patrol agents who, again, are everyday men and women. I would encourage AOC and other Democrats to actually meet with the United States Border Patrol. These are honorable Americans who are just simply trying to do their job to enforce the law. They go home to their families every night, just like we all do, and they deserve respect and dignity for trying to enforce our nation's immigration laws and to remove public safety threats from our communities. The White House is aware of the shooting that took place today in Texas, and we are working with the...
I gotta say, I used to have the stance that, you know what, these ICE agents need to be clearly identifiable, blah, blah, blah. I was wrong. Protect themselves any means possible and get these mofos deported. Just Me says, I saw an entitled bitch on a video today complaining about how hers and her friends' housekeepers got deported and now they have to clean their own houses.
Aww.
Boo-hoo. We all cry a tear.
Okay,
so,
here's what I was talking about. I'm going to send it to you quick on Discord.
Okay.
Aaron Bass? Any comment, Mayor Bass?
Thank you.
Mayor Bass, any comment?
Yes, my comment is they need to leave, and they need to leave right now.
They do need to leave back to their country. Not the ICE agents, the illegal immigrants.
They need to leave because
Jay, dang, who's gonna clean my toilet? I guess I'll keep doing it myself.
I thought that's why you got that bidet, Jay.
That's in reference to his comment last show where he said he's never had anybody clean his toilet. That stuck out to me when you said that. But yeah, I thought you got a bidet, but no, you still got to clean the toilet even if you got a bidet. That's the thing. The bidet is to clean your backside. Now they need the self-cleaning toilets. Karen Bass's nickname is Larger Mouth or Large Mouth.
What is with the women? Bass. What is with black women from California? Isn't that where Maxine Waters is from?
Yeah.
They all look like they're
she doesn't even live in
Mouth Bass.
She doesn't even live in her district. Maybe they'll finally invent a self-cleaning toilet. I know. I was thinking about ordering one of those Roomba things for Amazon Prime Day that starts tomorrow. I'm gonna try to find a good one if I can get a decent price. Jay said the Y-Files dropped a new video. I like those guys. The fish cracks me up. He's totally based. Lizard people. He likes the crab cat. Yeah, the crab cat. Yeah, Maxine Waters is a nutcase. She needs to be freaking held accountable for her, her calls for violence. You know what I mean? They're out there calling for violence, and they tell you that the right needs to tone down the rhetoric, and it's like, wait, what? See, Yeah, everybody should have a bidet.
Butthole button.
So
my bathroom feels like I'm inside Satan's butthole right now because we're still working on it, and not all the insulation's in the roof. So, yeah, I stay out of the bathroom as much as possible at the moment.
Chris is using the outhouse. I'm just teasing.
I'm in the middle of nowhere, so I can do that actually, but I don't. I know.
So Chris just sent me this. This is a meatpacking plant loses over 80% of its staff in an ICE raid. Business should incur a major fine. Nebraska meatpacking plant loses 80% of the staff.
But I agree. If you're an employer and you get caught with illegals working there, I think you should be fined heavily.
Stricter penalties. Yeah. Yep. Stricter penalties for these guys that are doing this. I know a guy who runs a lawn service, and he's having trouble finding Americans that would work. I insisted you have to offer them more money. And he insisted that they don't want to work no matter how much money he's offering, which I think is not true. And he looked into it and found out that if you get caught hiring an illegal, and this was about a year ago, like $175 fine. And so if you only have a couple or whatever, then you just pay the fine, and just that's your business operating expenses. You know what I mean? And they save money on the back end because the fine is not high enough. You do the math, and it's like, well, as long as they work for over 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to make more money off of them, so the fine is worth it. It's a despicable business motto, and I think the folks that are doing that probably should be paying a higher fine or run the risk of time in jail. I don't know what it should really be, but I know what's on the books and currently being upheld and whatnot is not strong enough. Fine. Which leads me to this guy's story. This is cool. He says American describes his town after the ICE raids.
In 1 week, I have seen in my city black men power washing parking lots, black men doing roofing work, black men doing lawn services around businesses in my city. Things are starting to look like the old days again. Black Man Thoughts 2.0, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's what they don't understand. The black people don't understand that this is what affects them economically. They want to complain that they have no money, they have no jobs, but they have to understand. They fight for the illegals to stay here and take their damn jobs.
Right. They're taking all of our jobs. And so it's nice, the black folks are typically kind of introverted as far as the black community and stuff like that. And, I think this is a good sign. People are seeing, look, these guys are out working rather than not, and making ends meet and not working, whether that's the stereotypical ways of doing it or not. But regardless, is whenever you free up the jobs, there's going to be people to hire. You can't, I'm not buying the bull crap that nobody wants to work. It's like, you're just not offering them enough. Everybody will go work for McDonald's if the pay is right. You know what I'm saying? If McDonald's offered me $75,000 to go work for them right now, I'll go work for them. I don't care what the work is. It's about the pay.
Yeah, I've done some shitty jobs, but I got paid good to do them.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we showed that. And then got the Trump border czar, Tom Homan, our guy. He says Trump border czar Homan wants ICE to dramatically hike illegal migrant arrests after the big beautiful bill cash infusion. So President Trump's border czar Tom Homan wants ICE agents to accelerate arrest even more after the agency received a giant budget boost for deportations with the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill, which we didn't even touch on. Trump signed that on the 4th of July, which was kind of cool. The 249th anniversary of our, signing of the Declaration of Independence. We signed the Big Beautiful Bill, which Trump believes will bring us into the golden age. And so it's pretty cool. But Holman on Monday called for taking at least 7,000 illegal immigrants off the street per day, more than double the current quota. That figure would amount to 1.2 million arrests if agents hit their quota every day for the rest of the year. So we're creeping up on almost 5 million over Trump's term. Still not enough, but I like that they're pushing the number higher and higher and higher with facilities like Alligator Alcatraz, and maybe hopefully some of these other states will follow suit. We can ramp that up even faster. And I expect him to hit this number. And for those that stay 3,000 a day, and for those that say 3,000 a day is too much, I want to remind them, do the math. We have to arrest 7,000 every single day for the remainder of the administration just to catch the ones Biden released into the nation, Holman told reporters Monday outside of the White House. Those are the official numbers, which we think that it's more towards the 40 million plus came in over the last 4 years under Biden. But Trump signed the nearly 900-page bill into law on July 4th, opening the door for ICE to hire 10,000 new officers and double the capacity to detain illegal immigrants to 100,000 beds. Let's get it done. The new law will turbocharge Trump's deportation effort. Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin told the Post last week the Department of Homeland Security will now have $165 billion to fund its border security efforts and beef up ICE enforcement. Now I wonder how much they're offering. I might have to drop the YouTube thing and go work for ICE for a little while. This $165 billion in funding will help the Department of Homeland Security and our brave law enforcement further deliver on Trump's mandate to arrest and deport illegal aliens, make America safe again, says Christy No. White House senior advisor Stephen Miller recently pushed ICE to make 3,000 arrests per day, which has filled detention centers to the brim. Trump administration originally gave ICE a quota of 1,800 arrests a day in January and increased the expectations in May. Some 11.5 million crossed into the U.S. illegally under the Biden administration, and most released briefly, detained and released. It was the biggest flood of immigrants in American history, eclipsing, I think, in world history, to be honest with you, not American history, but eclipsing even the days of Ellis Island. The Trump administration arrested 113,000 immigrants as of the end of March. The Post previously reported Miller and Holman have previously expressed frustration at the pace of efforts, which a lot of these efforts were met with activist judges, which now the Supreme Court has ruled on most of these. They're allowing Trump to deport people to third world countries and all kinds of other things. And I expect it to be, the reins to be loosened and the deportations to get up to that 7,000 a day mark, like ASAP. Looks like they need to hire some more ICE agents and probably need some more facilities. But you know what? With the deputization of the National Guard as judges, and they basically get their due process at their arrest, just put them on buses. That's how they got them in here. They're flying them in. They're bussing them in. It's kind of crazy. You remember how DeSantis for a time and Greg Abbott were busing these immigrants into blue states and blue cities? That actually kind of helped the Democrats. That helped disperse these people across their country, and it helped populate the blue areas, which they're trying to expand to get the census count up, and basically cheat the college electric votes.
That's the next thing that they need to do, is they need to pass a law stating that only Americans can be counted in the census. That has to go through Congress.
Right, and I believe that is something that they've been tossing around, so I really hope that they can get that done. It would be good to recount Americans only under Trump and set the new precedent in that manner. For sure. But that's pretty much all I got. Do you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, good show. We had fun. Talked about a lot of good stuff, a lot of good information, and just remember, please don't stoop to the Democrats' level. Don't say that they deserve stuff because stuff happens, because that just makes all of us look bad as well. Pray for them. Pray for the people who have been affected by these horrible acts, and pray for that the God softens the hearts of some of these people, because something happened to them that caused them to be this way. And Yep.
Tick says, and those rulings are they passed. I mean, they should be disbarred. Yeah, 100%.
I agree with that.
Yep.
If you get caught helping or aiding and abetting or being an activist as a judge, judiciary, you're proving that you can't be impartial.
Right, exactly. And if you can't be impartial, how can you be a judge? Much like, how can that lady be a pediatrician when she's out here saying the crap that she was saying, about the those little girls that were at that camp? Essentially, that's who she was talking about, whether she knew it or not. Andrea brought up that they're talking in chat, and I wanted to highlight this, that the fact that the 25,000 in tips and 12,000 in overtime, single filers and married couples, like Andrea has her on the screen, just goes to show that Trump wasn't doing this for, to help out his wealthy buddies. These are things that help the poor and middle class way more than it helps the rich.
I was told that they're holding off on making this permanent because they want JD to be able to run on that promise to make him permanent if he gets in.
They're not permanent, or they're only for 3 years. Isn't that what that is?
Yeah.
Is that how that goes? Okay, that's right.
Yep.
So maybe that is what they'll try to do. I don't like that. I don't like playing games with our money, but at least it's a move to help the poor middle class, which, thousands of dollars can go a long way with folks like that. Know how to budget and stuff. But
you want to do a prayer to end up, or are you going to do your verse? Or
I'm gonna do the verse. You want to pray for us tonight, or you want me to?
Do that. You go ahead and do the verse, and then I'll do a prayer to send us out then.
Okay, cool. So today's verse of the day in the YouVersion Bible app is Proverbs 9:10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. I like that.
Yeah. All righty. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. I'm going to just, if you don't mind, bow your heads with me, and we'll say a quick prayer and then head out.
Yes, sir.
Dear Lord, thank you for this time together to discuss issues that affect all of us and all the people in our country, dear Lord. Thank you for the blessings that you pour out onto us, even though we don't appreciate them all the time when they happen, and we have to look back and realize, hey, that was more of a blessing than we realized. Dear Lord, we pray for the people who have the hardened hearts, Lord. We don't know what caused them, but we pray that you can help to soften their hearts and get them to get their heads and hearts in the right place where they should be, and get them to follow the correct moral compass again, Lord. We pray for our leaders, that they continue to do what's best for us as a country, not just for one side or the other. Dear Lord, we pray for the leaders of the world, that they get their heads out of their butts and start doing better for all of us, because it's getting crazy out there. We pray these things in your son's name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chris. With that, I will just remind everybody to hit that like button, subscribe, join the Discord. All the links are down in the description. And Christ is King. We'll see you guys on Wednesday, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern. And for those that ask, sometimes I'm not clear enough with this, but I will say that The show is on Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Johnny. What is this?
Johnny Toy Trains.
Okay.
Johnny Toy Trains Fanatic. That's actually a friend of mine from my we grew up together.
Oh, cool. Thanks for sending me the link. I've been listening while working. Not a lot of time to chat. Well, thanks for being here, brother. Appreciate you.
He's a good guy.
Awesome. And then I will ask everybody too, if you don't mind, if you haven't yet, find the Jar Openers podcast channel and subscribe over there. Trying to build it up and get it monetized so we can move the live show over there full time. But in the meantime, we're going to have it up on America First TV. So with that, I'll just end and say Christ is King. And we'll see you guys on Wednesday.
All right. Thanks, guys.
With war rolling and with thug, we here to bring the truth. Jar open this podcast, we breaking through the fake news. They try to silence us, but we will be subdued. We're bearded alpha males here to save the youth. Spitting fire on the mic with the bass Christian takes. Exposing the lies, keeping the demons at bay. We ain't afraid to speak up, we won't be swayed. Jar open this podcast, where the truth is laid. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas thug, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. We ain't playing games, we're on a mission to awaken the masses with our intuition. Pulling out the corruption with no inhibition. Jar open this podcast, sparking a revolution. We're not afraid to stand tall in a world full of deceit. We're the voice of reason, bringing light to the street, keeping it real, never missing a beat. Jar open this podcast, where the truth meets the heat. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas thug, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. Jar open this podcast, where the truth will never cease. Join us on the journey to bring back peace. We're rolling Atlas thug, fearless in our release. Jar open this podcast, where the lies will decrease.